So welcome back friends. Today we will learn about the Spring Core, Spring Security, Spring MVC and Spring Cloud modules. So first of all, let's start with Spring Core. So this is the foundation Spring framework. Okay, so the Spring Core is the foundation of the Spring framework. It contains many essential components without which the Spring framework will not be able to function at all. Okay, so let's see what are these components. Okay, so first of all is bean. We have already seen whenever we create an object, we need to create a bean in the Spring framework. Okay, we can get the bean using the application content. Then there is the IOC container. This is where manages the beans. Okay, so it keeps record of all the active beans and what is the ID of these beans, what is the name of the bean, what is the type of this bean. It manages all your beans in the Spring framework. Then is dependency injection. So this injects dependencies into beans. Okay, so when bean A requires bean B requires bean C, whoever requires what, this dependency injection module takes care of that, and it makes sure that every bean gets all the dependencies that it requires. Then is, you can say, component scan. It finds those component, whatever beans, whatever components, whatever services, controllers, repositories, whatever you have defined in your application. This if you have enabled this, it will search the packages and it will find all those things by itself. Okay, then is at the rate configuration. Here you can declare the configurations class and you can configure your Spring application. Okay, so we have already seen constructor injection and auto wired annotations. We have already seen all these things. These are the core things that make the Spring container. There are different type of injections. There is constructor injection, there is setter injection, there is field injection, and there is a default injection as well. We have already seen that in previous. So all this constitutes the core Spring framework. Okay, now let's talk about Spring security. So this is a authentication and authorization framework. So what is the difference between authentication and authorization? Suppose I am SPS, whether I am really SPS or I am some hacker trying to pretend to be SPS. Determining this is called authentication, whether I am a genuine person or not, whether I am really the person who I'm saying I am. Okay, this is authentication. Authorization is okay. So now we have established that you are a genuine person, you are SPS, you are claiming to be SPS, and you are SPS. So you are a genuine person. But whether are you authorized to access service A, controller A, service B, controller B, resource A, resource B. What all things you are authorized to access? What all things you are not authorized to access? This is the process of authorization. Okay. So Spring Security provides us a role based access. It provides us DWT token management. It provides us session or stateless authentication, and it helps us implement security protocols like auth, OAuth2, etc. So some of the key components are authentication, authorization. Then we have a security filter chain in Spring security. So we'll see what we can do with this. Here we can define our security. Okay, then we have authentication provider. So it provides user details and credential validation, and it also provides us session management. So when a client request comes, first of all, we do a authentication using the JWT auth filter. So we check whether the JWT will see more in detail, but right now you can understand there is an authentication token. So we check whether the token is valid or not. If it is valid, then we go to the authentication. Here we load user plus user roles. Then we go to here we match the request URL with the role, whether it is matching or not matching, whether this role is allowed to access this URL or not. Okay. And if it is allowed to access, then we allow the request to go to the controller. So this is how security is done in a Spring application using Spring Security. Okay. So So you can see here that this is our security config. Okay, in this code, we have implemented the heart of Spring Security in our application. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are defining all the rules and all the checks in for every request that the request needs to pass through in order to be able to access the required resource. Okay, so this is our security object HFT. First of all, we are disabling clause styled security filter. Okay, so this, after that we are enabling role based access to different URLs. For example, in this line number 69 we have written that for any request which matched with these whitelisted URLs. What is this whitelisted URL? We have configured some URLs which are whitelisted. Okay, so any URL, any request that is for these resources, which is these are the documentations, Swagger endpoints, and other configuration endpoints. So any request that is matching for these URL permit all. So it is permissible to everyone. So there is no authorization here. For second, this is just an example. So we have taken an API VA1 management for this endpoint. The has any role. So it can have anyone who has the admin role or has the manager role can access API view. Then what we are saying for this same URL API V1 management, but specifically for the GET request, the user should either have the admin read role or the manager read role. Similarly, for the same URL for the post request, the user should have admin create role or manager create role. Similarly, for the put request, the user should have either admin update or manager update. Similarly, for the delete request, user should have admin delete or manager delete. Okay, so this is, and we have defined session management to be stateless. Okay, we have configured authentication providers, and we have configured a filter before each request. So before every request, this username and password filter will be called from the so the authentication will be done using the username and password. Okay, and we have implemented a logout handler as well. Okay, so we have this JWT authentication filter as well. It is configured here, add filter before. So here we have configured this JWT authentication filter. Okay, in this filter, what we are doing for every request, if it is for the authentication controller, then we are simply passing this request. So we are calling the next filter in the filter chain. But if it is for any other controller, which is not the authentication controller, then what we're doing from the header, we are trying to get the authorization token. So if the request has authorization token, then we'll continue further. But if it doesn't have, then we will pass the request to the next filter and we will leave this filter. Okay, so if the request has the authentication folder, we will, after bearer space, that much part we will exclude, and the rest of the part is the token of the request. So that's why we have done substring at 7. So from starting from 7, Okay, so we are getting the JWT token. Then the JWT token already contains the user information. So we can get the email out of the JWT token. And if the email is present, then we are loading the user by the email, and then we are verifying whether the token is a valid token or not. If the token is valid, then we are creating this username and password authentication token, and then we are setting the authentication token in the security context, and then we are calling the next filter. So then this authentication detail is set in the security context. So now anywhere in the application, if you want to fetch the user detail, you can simply use the security context and get the user details. Okay, so this is the security, how security is implemented using Spring Security, and how the token filtering is implemented using Spring Security. Now let's talk about Spring MVC. So MVC stands for Model View Controller. So it is kind of a design pattern where represents the data. Example, we can say user or product. View represents how we show the data. Okay, so it can be HTML, or it can be JSON or XML, any format that we want. And controller is like handles the HTTP. So controller is like the coordinator between model and view. Request comes to the controller, it calls the model to get the data, and then it sends the data to view to display the data. So it is kind of coordinating between the model and view. So let me again show you a simple example. For example, this is our user controller. Okay, so here this is a controller, so here the request will come. Okay, so this, for example, we have a change password request. So this is the request that we are getting. Okay, now this user service is our model. We are passing the request to the service, and whatever response if we would be getting, we would be returning. For example, if we take this request get details, here this principal connected user is our request. Okay, here we are passing this request, so we are doing request dot get name. Okay, and we are getting the name using service. So this service is our model. So using this we are getting the user, and then once we have the user, we are setting the some details of the user in this response hash map, and we are returning. So this is our view, this is what we are returning. So this is what you will see at your browser or see in your Postman. So this hash map is your view, this service call is your model, and this controller where you're getting this request is your controller. So this is the MVC, model view controller pattern, which is implemented in Spring and Spring Boot. So that is why we use this annotation RestController. So this defines this class as a controller. Then it is capable of accepting user request, and we are also giving it a request mapping. So for these particular URLs, API v1 users, this controller is responsible. So it will handle these requests. So this is how we do the request mapping with various controllers. So now let's talk about Spring Cloud. So Spring Cloud is a set of tools built on top of Spring Boot to simplify building distributed services systems. So these are tools which are built on top of Spring Boot to simplify deploying the services to the cloud. Okay, so for example, it provides us with Spring Cloud Config. It helps us simplify configuration. Similarly, it provides us with Netflix Eureka. So it helps us with service. It provides us with load balance. So it helps us with load. It's provided us with gateway. It provides Spring Cloud Gateway. So it helps us with routing, and it provides us with the Resilience 4J library. So it gives us circuit breakers. It makes the system more fault tolerant, and it provides us with Spring Cloud Sleuth plus Zipkin. It helps us with distributed tracing. Okay, so using these ready-made components, we can make our microservices independent, scalable, and deployable. We'll learn about microservices in the further chat, but yeah, in order to make microservices independent, scalable, and deployment, you require configuration sharing, you require service discovery, you require retries, fallbacks, you require security. So Spring Cloud gives all of these as a pre-configured or helps you configure all these things easily. So wherever a client request comes, it will first go to the Spring Cloud gateway. Okay, then it will go to your discovery server, and then it will go to your actual services, service 1, service 2, etc. So all these components come in the way to manage the request distribution tracing. We'll learn about all these concepts in more detail, but yeah, this is kind of an overview of what the Spring Cloud provides. So stay tuned for further chapters.